Well, there's no test recording
No
here.
test
today. No test for us. I guess we're just gonna jump right into it.
Wing it.
Yeah, I guess so.
What's that? What sound was that?
Good morning,
That was-
everybody.
That was a sound. Have we done Oslo, Norway yet?
No.
No, I don't think so.
Is that spelled like the Elden Ring character?
No, that would be Hoslo. This is Oslo.
Look, even though it's Norwegian, it could be French, and the H would not be pronounced.
But it's not even present.
It's Norwegian, not French.
There is no H.
And how was I supposed to know that? Oslo was not before me.
But
Anyway,
RJ just said Oslo, Norway.
Jay is just being a silly. Anyway, welcome everyone to the Brunch of Idiots podcast. We are the idiots in question.
As shown by
I'm RJ. The axolotl is Jay.
Hello.
The Sasquatch is Riley.
Yeah.
And the knight is Aiden.
Hello.
Aiden is currently preoccupied, so that's okay.
I said hello. What the? Come on, man.
I was just saying, in case you're not going to be as talkative right now, I was just letting you know that you're preoccupied.
finished.
Oh, okay, well, sorry, my bad. Aiden is no longer preoccupied, and will be
Moving on.
hosting today's episode. Aiden, what you got for us?
All right. So today, I hope y'all are ready for group survival.
Oh God,
Round 4?
Aiden does love his survival games. Now, today we're going to be talking about the thoughts that keep us up at night. So we're going to be discussing some rather embarrassing stories that make you do the Squidward meme where your eyes pop open in the middle of the night. So I guess I will start us off. So this one is a bit of a story, and it's going to take us all the way back to high school.
Oh,
We can have a twinkly
No.
sound there or something. So
I don't want that to
this
go for us.
particular story is about prom. My first one, because I actually attended a few. This one specifically was an event that was run through my church at the time. So I don't know if I actually told you guys this story yet or not. So if you haven't, then congratulations. But so I went with a group of friends, both from within the church and also from outside. I had a date who I'd asked ahead of time, and that was a whole other story. But
Can only imagine.
she arrived later than the rest of us because we had all met up at a restaurant before the event. So we went out there to go eat, and then we went to go take pictures and all that. My date arrived later than the rest of us. I had saved a seat for her next to me, and one of our buddies at the time, who also happened to go that year, went and sat in that seat. And I didn't know how to ask him how to move. I'm a pretty socially awkward person. I've learned how to speak up more now as an adult, but at the time, I didn't know how to address that. But so she showed up sitting with my friend between us, and I had what is the little flower thing called?
Corsage.
A corsage. Thank you. I had a corsage for her. And typically, apparently, what you're supposed to do is you put that on her. It goes on her arm or her wrist. I didn't do that. I didn't know. It's not like they come with an instruction manual. So I just slid it across the table to her. Because we were separated. And then after, we went to, I think it was a park to take pictures, group pictures and stuff. And there was only one picture out of the entire batch where we were actually next to each other. The entire time we were separated by at least one other person. And throughout the whole night, so after we had gotten there, throughout the whole night, turns out there were some friends of hers from her school there. And she was out hanging out with them. And so I spent most of the night tracking her down and trying to find her. And eventually I just gave up like halfway through the night. It was kind of a miserable thing. And I realized now that this is kind of just sad. But for me, it's just like one of those things where it's like, I'm sure the experience would have been better if I had known how to speak up. And so that's very embarrassing for me. And that's one of the thoughts that keeps me up at night.
Was this the Mormon prom that Aiden and I went to as well?
I believe so. I think y'all went that year. I can't remember if it was that one or if it was the next one, though. Because I think I went to 2 of them.
Because was it one of our mutual friends that did that?
I don't know. She was from 4-H. She was in that 4-H circle, but she was from a different area.
I'm gonna try and find the picture that we have of that.
Like a big group of people that we all did like a super silly photo op ?
I can barely hear you.
I
what you
don't
said.
know why. I've brought this up to my face. How does this sound?
That's better.
Fantastic.
Okay. Anyhow, I forgot what I was gonna say.
This, RJ, this, not this, the English. If it makes you feel any better, I've never been to a prom, so I don't think I would have done much better.
Well, typically, when it comes to prom etiquette, your parents are supposed to help, like, coach you through the entire thing. Like, it's supposed to be a bonding experience.
Well, they kind of did. I mean, it was pretty new for them too, but it was kind of funny because one of the things that led up to that, when I asked her to go with me, right, I had to like call her, and ask, because we didn't get a lot of opportunities to see each other in person just because of where we lived, and also like I don't think I had a car at the time. And she was public school, I was homeschooled, so there's just there wasn't a lot of actual time to ask in person. And I don't know, my mom got on me about it or something and had me like redo it. I don't know, I can't remember, it's been so long. But there was like something where my mom was like, yeah, no, you can't do that, that's not how you're supposed to do things. I was like, well, I don't have many options here. But yeah. But my second go around, the actual like big prom, for like the homeschool prom, that one was a lot better. That one was a lot of fun.
That's good. I'm glad the second one went better.
Is that the Paris themed one?
Yeah.
I remember the Paris themed one. I remember exactly what I did.
What do you mean?
It was an embarrassing thing.
Well, that's the topic of the night. Let's hear it.
So, the dance floor, very chaotic.
Oh, no.
If it wasn't like just super crowded, it was also just super crowded, and sometimes people jumped a lot because it was a lot of jumpy songs and people don't know how to dance, so all they do is jump. I'm not throwing shade, I'm being honest. So one of those songs that did come on, and I was on the dance floor by myself, and it was the YMCA.
Oh.
And I love doing that dance. I love the YMCA stuff. So, I find a spot where I feel like I can throw my hands around, So I started dancing. And literally the very first time I throw my arms up to do the Y, I feel contact with my hand against someone's face.
Oh, no.
And this was right before I heard them go, "Excuse me," and then get interrupted as I slapped them across the face with the back of my hand.
It gets better.
Oh,
So I turn
Lord.
around to apologize because it sounds like one of the chauffeurs, one of the older adults there. And to my horror, it was a pregnant lady that
Oh,
had
no.
come up to ask if I could move so that she could take a picture of her kids at prom.
And you just decked her across the face.
Oh no!
Now, she said that I apologized profusely and I was so embarrassed, but she was like, "I walked up behind you. I should have known that would have happened." So she was chill about it, but it's just like, what have I done? I must leave. I must banish myself.
I have done that in laser tag before.
No.
I don't know if we've talked about this, but I take laser tag very seriously, and I had my laser tag gun at, I don't know, like a little bit above my hips, right? And I went to go and turn really quickly, and ended up turning my hands directly into a small child's face with like the hard plastic like gun, and just ended up just laying them on their back
You,
completely by accident. Their face just happened to be right where my hands were, like right level with it. So
No offense, but that must
Accidentally-
have been a small child.
it was a pretty. Hey. So anyway, in other fun news, so Jay is no longer going to be with us on the podcast. This is their last episode, so
Bye,
everyone say goodbye to
Jay.
Jay.
I'm gonna go
Bye,
start my own
Jay.
podcast. You can find me where I'm lost in space.
Oh my
Whoa.
goodness. Wow.
I will say this. I feel like from the child's perspective, because, children with their imaginations, it's like they're in a war zone. They were probably running up to gun down this giant that has turned around and butted them at the end of the gun. That
Not all
child's just like,
children think
ah,
like
no.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Oh.
I feel like I should feel worse about this, but that's not a moment that keeps me up at night.
The kid I feel like
I
the
mean-
kid did it to himself. Just kind of was right in your range
I
of
mean-
movement there.
I should be more aware of my surroundings, but it was a genuine mistake, you know?
It's also kind of dark in them laser tag places too.
Yeah, and I'm
laser tag.
mostly blind and partially deaf, you know?
And the staff hate you for no reason.
It's not for no reason. They probably have very good reason.
Look, every
Like I said,
time I've done laser tag with you, it's always like you get so close to being banned. And I don't ever see why.
I take it very seriously, and I feel like they don't enjoy that.
They don't like adults who do that.
But anyway, Jay or Riley, y'all got any thoughts that keep you up at night?
I got one that's not prom related.
Awesome.
Okay.
We love that.
Specifically has to be prom related. I'm sorry.
Dang it! Well, I'm out of this whole episode then. Let's go, boys. No, so I was like, what, 14, 15 at the time. My parents had gone on like a date night or were out of town. I forget what it was, but I was still at the age where they didn't want me left at the house by myself. So they had a family friend over that used to work with my mom. And she was to pick me up or drop me off. No, my parents dropped me off, so it must have been a date night. My parents dropped me off. She came to pick me up from a youth group that I was going to at the time. And Monday night youth group was swim night over the summer. And so I had, taken my swim trunks and everything. We were at the pool. And so it comes about time that we would be wrapping stuff up. We normally get done like around 8, and then anything after that just kind of free time. At least that's how that youth group ran. She walks up to the fence. She's like, "Hey, I'm here, ready to go whenever." I'm like, "Cool. You want to give me 5 more minutes? I want to finish, talking to my friends, right? Before we get out of the pool." Well, she's Canadian, which their courtesy is a little bit different than the way that mine works. So I was expecting her to come back up to the fence like 5 minutes later. It's like, "Hey, get on out of the pool. Let's go home." But she never came back up to the fence. So I'm just chilling, just waiting for her to come and say something. Oh, she's like 30 minutes later. She's like, "Hey, we're going." I'm like, "Okay." So I get out of the pool, get changed, whatever.
I remember this. You you had the story on
Bait and switch.
Bait and Switch.
Oh. Well, okay. I was wondering if I had told this one before.
It's okay. It took me a second. I was like, "This sounds really familiar."
Those who didn't watch that episode, let me just
This is
basically
gonna have better audio quality, so it's worth repeating.
yes, this is the updated version of this. Basically, I get out to the car and I sit down in the car. She's like, "Hey, I haven't had dinner yet." I'm like, "Oh." I've been keeping this woman from her food. It is like 9 o'clock at night. I felt so bad, and I think about this occasionally. Every time because we still, my parents like to game with her sometimes. We'll like play card games and board games and stuff. So in between those, like almost every time I go, we're like treading. I feel like I'm treading on thin ice when I'm sure it's fine. I think at this point she may have forgotten, or like doesn't care. But every time I'm like in like at her place of residence, I'm like, ah.
Oh dear.
Feels so bad.
Yep, that'll do it. Riley.
I have a sad one.
Okay, let's hear it.
I was in college at a private university. And this college was really into like the Enneagram and MBTI. Like that was a part of the whole like student culture. And my MBTI at the time, I don't know if it still is because I refused to take it. Unless it's for a job. I'll do anything for a job. Well, not anything. Anything within reason.
Way to plug yourself in there, Radley.
I was gonna say, I was like, wait a minute.
Emails from places looking to hire. Be careful.
Really, just going, please
Anyway,
hire me.
I was an INTJ, which apparently is not a common quote unquote person. I think it's all a load of bull, right?
They're like Zodiac.
But they took it very, very seriously. And as a result, when they learned that I was an introvert and they learned that I'm not a huge touch person, people stopped spontaneously interacting with me. Just period. Right? They didn't really text me. Nobody really called me. Nobody really interacted with me outside of my classes, which was very frustrating to me because I didn't necessarily go out of my way to isolate myself, right? I was always trying to be a constant presence, but I'm not. I wasn't, and I'm still not really a very socially adept person. Gracious. The dogs are having a moment. So it got very, very frustrating to have to deal with because I was constantly having to like put myself out there like, hey, you can text me. Hey, you can let me know when stuff is going on. So one Tuesday, I come down, and it's halfway through the semester. Midterms are coming up. I'm exhausted. I'm hungry. I'm grumpy. And I come down into the and one thing that people know about me, because my parents were incredibly generous and still are, they're awesome, is that I like, for going out, I was always down because I could always afford to go out and eat. And I thought I had made that incredibly clear. I walked down into the common area of the dorms, which only held like 50 students. Like, it was an incredibly small campus, right? And it was co-ed. Like, you didn't have boys and girls sleeping in the same room, right? But you had a male wing and a female wing, you know? And we all had like a common room in the middle that we would all hang out in, like, all the time. And I see a group of like 12 people just standing around, waiting around, and I'm like, hey, what's going on? And all of these people were people that I considered my friends. At least I thought that we were friends, right? And they told me, oh yeah, it's Taco Tuesday. Didn't you get the text? And I'm like, what do you mean, didn't I get the text? They had a group chat that they just constantly added people to. And I wasn't a part of that. And never was. Like, even after this situation, I was never a part of the group chat. And like, I do think about that fairly often. I'm still heard about it, even like 5-10 years later. Not 10 years, it was like 6 years later.
15 years later.
I feel
because,
that though.
Like, what about me makes me unavailable? Like, I made it incredibly clear that I wanted to be involved. Like, I even told the people who like did all of the gathering of folks, all of the you know, networking folks, that, hey, I would like to be involved. But I was never included, and I think that's part of the reason why I had my little minty bee, because despite the fact that I was surrounded by people who supposedly shared the same faith and desire for the same goals, right, I was still probably the most isolated I have ever been in my entire life. And it was all, like, I blame the MBTI crap.
I genuinely think it's just that campus, but that's just me.
I mean, it probably is, but I still think if y'all like the MBTI, please do not take this as an incredible insult. However, I think it's a load of BS, and you really should take like 3 steps back and touch grass.
Riley, we just lost a third of our viewers. No.
No.
Oh no,
That's just my
2 people.
opinion. One of them is me. If it's on YouTube, I've watched every single episode.
Which, by the way, so completely random. I was looking through the analytics. We had a bit of a back stock of episodes, so we uploaded a bit later than we actually had started recording. But anyway, I was looking through some of the analytics for the episodes that we'd released, and I saw like a certain percentage. I think it was like 8% of people watched on a TV. So whoever you are out there watching on TV, rock on, because I would not put us on a TV. But
I wonder if that's my boss.
It could be. I was
your
also
boss
thinking maybe
does
it was
watch.
like my parents.
My
I don't
coworker.
know if our parents know that we have it up and running.
Shout out if you're my coworker.
Shout out if you're my boss, I guess.
Man, I can't believe we're here, guys. Congrats. The ability to give shout outs, that's so great.
Oh
for
my
us.
gosh. Knowing our
Oh,
audience
man.
on the personal level.
That is really interesting though, because we're still like such a small production that like really the only people, I mean not really, the only people who listen to us are people that we directly like know, like in real life. So that is kind of interesting. Also,
That's-
Dawson toes, if you get this far.
No, no.
Um,
He's gonna stop listening just because
Stop
of
listening.
this.
I think we missed like what, one episode of that, and then
What
it's
was the
now just
last
become the.
episode?
Gotta keep 'em guessing.
Wow.
Oh no.
Every once in a
Um,
while, just mention it.
yeah, I feel that though, Riley. I had a very similar experience during college. Actually, when I moved out, I won't get into it too much because it delves a lot into religion, and I don't really feel like dipping my toes into that because that's not what our podcast is here for. But I had a very similar experience involving a house of guys, and I like you had said, I'd never felt more alone than I did there, which is like a really weird feeling to have, to like feel alone in a crowd of people that are supposed to, be there with you to share life and experiences and to bond with and stuff like that, and then to just not have it is kind of like a really gross feeling.
Yeah. Especially, if they treat you one way, like around campus, and then like and ignore you outside of that.
Yeah.
It kind of, it almost feels like it's psychological warfare. Like, what's going on?
What do you want from me?
What have I not? I spent so much time during that period of my life trying to figure out what was wrong with my personality so that I could fix it. That was the big thing. And sometimes I still find myself in that trap.
That sucks.
Trying to figure out, like, what parts of me do I need to soften? What parts of me do I need to amplify? Like, I was reading self-help books about it. I was, like, going off the deep end about that kind of thing. And, yeah, it was bad.
Yeah.
So, are we able to tell things that just keep us awake at night, no matter the emotion it gives us?
Yeah, it doesn't necessarily have to be embarrassing stories. It's just thoughts that keep you up at night. Just the one that kind of had sparked that topic for me was the prom story. I was I was actually thinking about it on a drive home from work, but
I have straight up anger.
Oh, okay. Let's hear.
Oh, you've awakened to one in. Okay, I'll tell this one later if I haven't already.
The
no.
rage.
The butterfly
effect. So let's talk about it. Youth camp.
Oh.
My
Sorry.
very first year
Oh no.
at this specific one that 3 of us had gone to. There was a game. They called it Freedom USA, and I'm just gonna leave it there. The goal is to get to a campfire that was secretly, like, lit somewhere on the campgrounds, and we had to avoid the other youth leaders that were acting as guards, right? And if we ever got caught, we had to avoid, like, letting them know that we were going to this campfire, essentially. Or else they would essentially, quote-unquote, unalive us and then take us to the campfire because we lost. We spent, I think, a good 30 minutes not moving anywhere.
Mind you, it's pitch dark outside. It is.
It's nighttime.
Night game.
So in the darkness of this, hold on, sorry. Okay, anyhow, it ungridded. That's fine. It doesn't show on my end. Anyhow, in the pitch of darkness, right? I was trying my best to be a team player and kind of, like, because I have fairly decent vision in the dark. Uh, so one of the main problems was the entire team decided to just not listen to me at all. And they kept freaking out that, like, any bit of noise or anyone talking or whispering to each other were, like, the guards, right? So that's why for 30 minutes we just didn't go anywhere. We started going one way, everyone got spooked. Start going another way, everyone got spooked, and you couldn't split up, right? Then they see this red light. Now, I remember this red light from one of these leaders who has, like, one of those headlights that you put on your head. And he showed everyone that he had it and that it also is a red light. He can change it from red light to not red light. And I'm over here the entire time going like, guys, this is not the campfire. This is this specific leader. And they're like, you don't know what you're talking about, Aiden. That's obviously the campfire. We can hear so-and-so over there chatting up a storm because they're at a campfire. You just don't know. And they had me go first and pushed me into this leader, right? Because it was him. And he was questioning other people. And
My team specifically, because I remember this.
Oh,
he turned around, saw me, told me not to go anywhere because we're next. And I turn back and look, and the rest of my team is gone.
Which they weren't supposed to do, by the way. Their leader was supposed to keep track of him.
Like, they just bumped me into him and went, oop, and left without me.
that whole youth group just...
So
okay.
he had to call that leader to get the group to come back. And so I had enough at that point. So I just told him exactly who we were and what we were doing. And game overed our entire group. They were so mad at me, but I was mad at them for being idiots.
I can't blame you. I'm right there with you. I think I would have done the same thing.
Yeah, I was about to say, I can't even blame you. I'm right there with you.
The worst part, right? We get over to the quote-unquote campfire, this proverbial fire that we're all supposed to look for, and it's not even lit yet.
Because they can't figure out how to get it lit. 3 years I went to that camp, right? And not a single year could they figure out how to get a fire lit. I'm not even joking.
Okay, but that's so them, though.
It is!
So what they would do was they would just give up and start shining a flashlight out. But they
we
wouldn't
were
tell
told to
any of
avoid
us.
flashlights.
Yeah, they wouldn't tell any of us that happened.
Freedom USA was such a wild game setting.
I
So
hated
many
it
of the
so
games
much.
at that youth group were anger-inducing for
What?
so many
Oh,
reasons.
absolutely.
Dude.
Yeah.
I asked one year because I cannot see in the dark. Period. I was like, I cannot see in the dark. I hurt myself every time I play a night game. Can I please sit out this time? My last year, right? And they were like, no, you can't. You're not allowed to. And I'm sitting here like, okay, I am 18 years old. I am an adult. I don't have to listen to this crap at all. But because I wanted other people to actually have fun, I stood around until we got to our first guard, which just so happened to be one of my friends. And, like, sat down with him. I was like, nah, I'm not going.
Lord.
What's stopping me from just getting up and leaving the camp?
The fact that none of us
It
could
was in
drive and it was in Arkansas.
It was an 8-hour drive from where our from where we were
It's
based.
like the worst bus drive ever.
It's a short walk.
And they took our phones away so we couldn't call anybody if anything
They
happened.
never took mine away. I had mine the entire camp. Why? Because I was parentified.
I brought an iPod one year, and they said that they were taking up phones, and so my smart ass was like, I'm gonna just keep my iPod on me. So, like, during free time, I would just go chill in the bedroom on my iPod
Yep.
one year
Nice.
that they didn't know I had.
They
But
never
yeah.
had enough girl leaders. So I would have my own group of girls in my room, and I acted as the leader of my room, and I was like, I'm not taking your phones away. That's stupid. Even though I was
That's
supposed to.
stupid.
As you should.
So, yeah.
We could write a book with
We could.
the
Camp.
entire. Yeah.
What was yours, Jay?
So, 1 year for my birthday, my family and I, we went to an Alley Cats, before, we were planning to go Red Lobster afterwards, because my birthday fell on a Monday that year, and Red Lobster has, all-you-can-eat shrimp at Red Lobster, which I just realized that sentence bookended itself, but they have all-you-can-eat shrimp, on Mondays during the summer at Red Lobster, and shrimp is like one of my favorite foods. So I was really excited to go and get, shrimp after bowling, which is why we were at Alley Cats. And so normally when we go bowling as a family, my parents and I, the way it goes is my dad wins, I come in second, and my mom comes in third. That's just kind of how it almost always goes, with the rare exception of dad has a bad game and I'm first, because he bowled in college. So this time, however, I'm not doing well. I come in, I can see already we're like 6 or 7 frames into the game. I'm not catching up. And so I'm just like, the planetary alignment is off. I've gone like off the edge. And so my solution, I'm going to run down the alley and slide tackle the pins in my head. This is the solution to this problem.
Brilliant.
How old were you?
I think I was turning 15 or 16.
Oh.
I was not young.
This is
I was.
this
You
is
were
like
also
full
tall.
6-year-old behavior. That's
Yeah,
beautiful. Continue.
Aiden's right. I'm also pretty tall, so I'm from a distance probably look older than I actually am.
Yeah.
So I get about halfway down the alley. I'm like, you know what? Maybe slide tackling the pins isn't the solution. It's I like slow down, turn around, and walk back. One of the employees like walks down and was like, "Hey, is everything okay over here?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I just slipped." And my parents are standing there staring bullets into my soul. And I'm like, "Oh no."
I'm sorry, I'm laughing at your pain.
And so the employee walks away, and they're like, "Look, are we gonna be able to finish this game? If you do something like that again, we're not gonna go to Red Lobster."
Completely valid response by your
And
parents.
so,
BT
not
dub.
only am I mad at the planets not being aligned in this game of bowling, I'm also pissed because I could lose my shrimp.
Not the shrimp.
It was like, you're gonna make me look bad at bowling on my birthday. I'm gonna make myself look like a bad child on my birthday, and then I'm not even gonna get my birthday dinner on my birthday.
No shrimp for
Oh
the J.
no.
It was so bad. I think I the whole time I was at dinner, I couldn't enjoy the all-you-can-eat shrimp. I think I had like 7 platters, and I was just stress eating. It was not good. I
Oh my
had so much
goodness.
shrimp.
That's
Let me see if I can find what year that was. Maybe I can figure out how old I was.
No, yes, the year of the shrimp.
the shrimp.
The year of the shrimp.
The year of our Lord, 1922. Well, I got a bit. It's not really a long story. It's more of just like a moment. We're at this youth livestock show. Because I would volunteer there a couple of years, and I was talking to this girl. We were hanging out in between, I guess, jobs. So we were just kind of hanging around talking. She had a brother who was interesting. He was an interesting fellow, and I didn't really like him all that much. But he comes up and starts like butting into our conversation, and he asked me like, "Oh, hey, have you heard of this band?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure, whatever." Just trying to just brush it off. And he goes, "Oh, well, you know what I like is making up a random band and asking if people know who it is."
Oh no!
And I'm just sitting there. I just glared at this dude, just no expression, just like, what are you doing?
It's one of those things where you want to look at them and you go, this is the reason why homeschoolers have a bad reputation.
This is the one.
You are
officer.
the reason. Over here, officer. No, but it was one of those things where it's like, oh, I can't believe you actually just did that. Like, I don't know. I feel like he should have had enough social understanding to understand that I didn't actually care or was invested in anything he had to say. But I understand why he did not. But it was, yeah, that was a moment that will forever be burned in my brain.
I don't blame you. Not even
Yeah.
one little iota.
I got another one at the same camp that Aiden was talking about earlier. I think it was the year after Aiden and Riley left.
It's like, we're out of here.
Yeah,
Goodbye.
y'all left me by myself, and I had.
I left first. You had 2 years with Aiden.
I had to, yeah, and then Aiden left, and then it was just me. And that particular, so we had a game called Wawa Man, and
It's tackle, capture the flag.
basically, yeah, you have like a little circle end zone, one on each side, and if you can stop somebody's forward momentum, you send them to jail,
Oh man!
and you can do jailbreaks and stuff. And so I generally played defense, right? Because I'm a pretty light guy, and so it's not very hard to stop my forward momentum, even though I'm fast. However, I'm pretty tall, and so I would try to stop other people's forward momentum, and people that were shorter than me, I would accidentally clothesline. Just not even intentionally, just like, I got long arms, trying to get low, but there's only so much you can really do. And so they had me sit out for a little bit one year because I clotheslined a girl shorter than me. And so they finally let me back in, and they're like, "Why don't you play offense?" I'm like, "You know what? Sure, I'll show you why this is a bad idea." So I run over there, get into the end zone, and which is a safety circle for they can't tackle you while you're in there. I have the Wawa Man. And they're like, "We're going to try to do this maneuver where one person runs out one side, and then while they're distracted with them, you can run down the other side." I'm like, "Cool."
They were doing that again? That's a dumb strategy. Sorry.
So we tried it, and I'm about to run, and there is on their team, there's a larger girl there, and she is pretty athletic. And she comes running up. She stiff arms me. Just straight up stiff arms me, knocks me to the ground, and then I get like, it felt like I got dogpile. I don't know. It was like a whole thing. I bit my lip. They like, And then they could see I was upset, visibly upset about this turn of events. So they're like, okay, you go sit out again. And I'm like, me sitting out's not going to make me feel better about this. This isn't even my fault. Like, it's not a game that I'm built for. And I'm trying to do things my way, y'all get unhappy with, but then doing it the way you ask me to also had a bad ending. Like, what do you want from me? Like,
Yep.
No, I totally understand. Out of the 4 years that I had gone there, that game, my team has never won once because these leaders really liked putting themselves with the athletic people.
They did not like losing.
And they did not like losing.
That's so dumb.
Well, my very last year, we should have won. We absolutely should have won. The problem was, and I 100% think this happened, I think they turned a blind eye to some of the more violent members of the camp from, like, when those members would bloody or injure people on our team and scared everyone else from going on the offensive or trying to, like, jailbreak anybody. It literally took them injuring like 5 of our people to get it to turn into a tie.
That's intense. I feel like that's scarier than a lot of the summer camp experiences that I had with Boy Scouts.
Which passes so.
This game shouldn't have existed. Honestly, they shouldn't have been leaders, but you know.
The year after my incident, I think, was the year that they stopped playing it. I don't know if they've played it again since. But
They played.
Well,
played it
that
again.
year with the tie, the pastor of the church went with us and witnessed this happen.
Oh, he was not happy.
He was not happy. Anyhow, I interrupted you, sister. Sorry.
The first year that I went, or maybe it was the second. I think it was the second year that I went. They played a game called Prison Shank.
oh,
What?
Guess how that was?
may have been the first year I went.
Oh, so it must have been the third year instead. So what they did was each give us a plastic spoon. Sorry, I'm trying to keep myself from laughing because the older I get, the less this is a fun game to me and more of a liability. They gave us a plastic spoon and released us into a field and said, you must break your plastic spoon on somebody in order to shank them, and if you get shanked upon, you are out.
And you
must
give the shanker
yes,
your
you must give the
spoon.
person who shanked you your unblemished spoon. And oh, there were like 3 kids who like legitimately got stabbed with shards of plastic cutlery.
I was about to say, this doesn't sound like a game. This just sounds like kids stabbing each other.
It was kids stabbing each other. My best friend at the time was there. It was the first and only time she went to that camp. And they almost sent her home, which I thought was the dumbest thing on the planet, BT dubs. They almost sent her home because she stabbed somebody. They
Like,
said she
not
was
just somebody.
She was too.
A soccer player.
Yes, a soccer player.
Yes.
They said she
soccer
was too
players.
enthusiastic about stabbing.
You literally, the whole game is stab. If you give somebody a spoon, like, I don't.
But also,
Is that
I feel like giving kids plastic spoons and saying, go out in this field and stab each other, but don't enjoy it, is kind of psychotic.
This is boomer activities. This is I drank water from the hose activities. Like
So-
Very much so.
Was this game supposed to be purely like entertainment / recreation, or was there supposed to be something to be learned from this?
There was no
It
learning.
was just recreation.
It was just stabbing each other for fun, but not
Yeah.
too much fun.
Yeah.
because
Yeah,
if you have too
that's-
much fun, that makes us worried that you could actually stab someone.
They legitimately almost sent her home. I got so mad, I got a migraine and had to go and lay down. And then when it gets worse, right? This story gets worse. Okay. When everybody came back in for like rest time, because we had like a midday rest time, I was ranting to my bunkmates, my best friend, and then 2 other girls who were close friends to me at the time. And I was like, this is the dumbest thing I've ever heard. I heard the adults talking about it, and it's not even Christina's fault. And I'm so angry I could eat them, right? Because that was the thing to say at the time. That was my thing, right? And 2 of the senior girls, like the senior and high school girls, overheard me say this and tried to get me kicked out with her for violence inciting language.
But they had a violence inciting game.
I don't know.
They
It was
had
so
Wawa,
bad,
man.
right? It was so bad that one of the girls came back, like her senior year of college, right? Asked to meet with me and apologized for her behavior towards me that year because it weighed so heavily on her.
That's wild.
It was really bad. Like, I cannot express to you how much vitriol these girls were spitting at me and my best friend at the time. Like, it was so
really
bad.
Like, I am usually oblivious, and even I could tell this was happening.
Yeah.
I was
High
not
schoolers
necessarily,
be whack, man.
but also I was like 14
Right?
or younger when this happened. So
Oh, I think you were 13.
was I? I don't
Yeah.
know. I know that I joined that youth group like a month early or something, and I was like the youngest person in the youth group for like a year
Yeah.
You
or something like that. Like,
Goodness.
yeah.
Well, I think that's all the time we have. Aiden, do you have highlights for us?
Boy, do I have highlights.
Oh, let's
Oh,
go.
boy.
I know
I'm
you do.
excited.
This broadcast was brought to you today by these words: Seat taken, Corsage, YMCA takedown, The Retelling, Screw the MBTI, Shoutouts, Camp, Year of the Shrimp. What do you want from me? Camp? Stabbing Recreation. Thank you for listening.
Stabbing recreation.
Camp?
My favorite is Year of the Shrimp.
Year
Oh.
That is the year that Jay was born.
So I went and looked.
1922.
I went and looked back, right? And if it
Yeah.
was a year that my birthday was on a Monday, right, when this happened,
Mm-hmm.
there's a very high probability, if my birthday was on a Monday, that was 2019.
Holy!
That was... I would have
That
been
was-
turning 15. I think, if the math is either 15 or 16.
I'm so
That year
glad
old.
you've learned better emotional regulation.
I mean, you should just take it out on some people by stabbing them with plastic spoons. But don't enjoy it.
God.
That's the
You
step.
can't have too much fun, especially not against the soccer players, because they're gonna roll around
Right.
and scream and cry.
Right.
Oh,
Exactly.
man.
Anyway, thank you all for listening. Oslo, Norway. Happy brunch. We'll see y'all in the next one. Bye.
Happy brunch.
Bye.
Bye.